Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and today we're back here with another breaking point video. We take this call first.
Zoe.
Daddy!
Hey, Lils. What have you been doing today?
I drew a picture.
Yeah? What's it a picture of?
It's a secret.
Okay. Well, maybe you'll show it to me later.
Maybe. Will you win today, Daddy?
I hope so, Lils. Hey, can I ask you a question?
What's the question?
Who's your favorite racing driver?
You are.
Yeah, just checking. Can I speak to Mommy now?
No.
Okay.
Bye, Daddy.
Bye, Lily.
Well, his daughter just cut him off a bit there from his wife, but as you can see, once again as Casper Akkerman for the third race in a row, I do believe. And of course, the Dutch Grand Prix is home Grand Prix in the Breaking Point series, and it is going to be a fun one. Of course, we have got the lovely Zandvoort bringing its banked corners. Lovely, lovely track, and it should be an interesting one. Home race for Verstappen Akkerman. Of course, the form on the rise, the latter on his way out. Yeah. Call me petty, but I'm really just here for the AlphaTauri drama. You are petty. You can't just wish them well. See the Orange Army back here in force. Of course they are. Of course they are. Love the Netherlands, love the Dutch GP. Of course Devin Butler does. Lots to talk about the two Dutchmen today. Some cute predictions about Akkerman, but sure, there's no way he finished ahead of Verstappen. Orange Army has nothing to do with the Orange team. This sport makes no sense. Yeah, but it's Dutch, isn't it? So, Akkerman, Zandvoort got tickets. Casper will be genuine every step of the way. Wearing my Red Bull t-shirt and AlphaTauri hat today. Casper finished. I hope he wins, but Verstappen is who my money is on. Zandvoort might just be my new favourite track roll on Sunday afternoon. I'm tipping Akkerman to have a good race today. Call it a hunch. Come on, Max. Could your bonsai roots be damaged if your tree is struggling? The best moment in Breaking Point is at Bonsai Care on the socials. Could be time for a report. Check out our website for a simple guide. God. And Egg Boinkos playing for Akkerman. He has to win on home turf. And Dutch GP or bust for Akkerman. He's too old. Alright, mate. Alright, yeah, it is full. Narrow. Elevation changes. Steep camber. Yeah, it's difficult. It is a difficult track. Morgan West. A bit tricky what he wants to be, but great job. Came across really well. And home race. It will certainly be a fun one. I'm excited to get into some action at Zandvoort as Casper Akkerman. Hopefully some interesting cutscenes. If you guys are, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. But we're going to get into some Zandvoort, of course, Casper's home race, along with Max Verstappen. The Orange Army should be there in full force.
Hello and welcome to Zandvoort for another round of Formula One action. Four lefts and 10 rights make up the 14 corners of the narrow and demanding Zandvoort circuit, with plenty of peaks and valleys over the course of a 2.6-mile lap, which will demand absolute concentration from our drivers here today. And so here we are, Zandvoort. If there's one thing you can guarantee, it's the incredible atmosphere these Dutch fans provide. The sea of orange shirts as much a part of the Grand Prix as the track itself. Max Verstappen, always a home favourite, but in the midfield, all eyes on AlphaTauri's Casper Akkerman. He'll be looking to turn around a poor patch of form, and what better time to do it than here, in front of his home crowd. With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Norris, Leclerc, Sergio Perez, and Bottas, Sainz, Akkerman, Fernando Alonso and Daniel Ricciardo. Stroll, Jackson, Esteban Ocon and Vettel. Butler, Mick Schumacher, George Russell and Kimi Raikkonen. Giovinazzi and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Well, we are set for 18 laps of Zandvoort then, and as you can see, 2 different pit strategies. Definitely going to be mediums and softs. Definitely makes a lot more sense there than this one. If we were to edit this one, can we go soft, medium? 7, 11. That is going to be a bit slow. Probably go a little bit quicker there. That strategy is going to be a little bit quicker. We're going to see what the rest of the grid is on, though. You don't exactly want to be struggling at the end of the race. I think we will go with mediums to softs here at Zandvoort for this lovely 18-lap race. A fairly short track, so it won't be too long. But, of course, we should have plenty of action. Let's have a look at the grid, see what tyres they're on, and look at it in a bit more detail. Well, sadly here, we don't get to know what tyres they're on. I think we'll just go medium to soft so we can push at the end of the race. But the target is the podium, and as you can see, Verstappen on pole, Hamilton P2, then you've got Lando Norris P3. Good to see Norris and Leclerc up there quite high. And then Perez and Bottas in front of us directly. Carlos Sainz, the Spaniard. So it's going to be a lot of work to do. Definitely having those McLarens and Ferraris of Norris and Leclerc ahead of Perez and Bottas should help us get towards the podium. Alonso P9 for Alpine with Ricciardo P10. Then, Ricciardo a little bit further back. You wouldn't have expected to be behind Alonso. Of course, Lance Stroll P11, looking pretty solid there for Aston Martin. Of course, ahead of Aiden Jackson, our teammate. Not too bad for him, P12. Ocon sits P13 for Alpine with Vettel P14. Quite far down the order there. You'd expect him to maybe be ahead of his teammate. Then Devon Butler, P15, ahead of Mick Schumacher, P16. Russell, Raikkonen, Giovinazzi and Latifi round out the field. Haas looking a bit better than Williams and Alfa Romeo, but we have got to get up ahead onto the podium. It's likely that it'd be Verstappen versus Hamilton out front. So we're going to have to probably get past Norris, Leclerc, Perez, Bottas and Sainz. It's going to be a difficult one here, but should certainly be a fun one with plenty of overtaking. I think it's time to get into some racing action at Zandvoort. Well, we haven't inspected the grids load here in Zandvoort because target's P3 or P2, P1. The podium, you've got to get there. We're going to see a lot of the Ferraris, the Mercedes, the Red Bulls, the McLaren of Norris. You don't need to inspect it loads though because it's not about where they finish. It's about as long as that we're on the podium here in the Netherlands for the Dutch Grand Prix. 5 red lights. They're out for Akkerman's home race. Casper will want a good one. And his results in our hands. Leclerc versus Norris into the first corner. Bottas tries to send it down the inside line of Checo Perez. We're going to close off both of them. And behind, Checo Perez off the track. I think Bottas absolutely shoved him off there. That won't have helped him. And now Bottas is going to try and challenge us side by side. Wow, what a shame for Checo Perez in the Red Bull here. What was Bottas thinking? That has got to be the question. Don't know what the answer is, as he's trying to shove us a little bit off track here. We're going to get a little bit fighty through this section. We can't afford to drop away from Norris and Leclerc, who sit in front as it stands. Those two, P3 and P4. That's going to be the target. Verstappen leads Hamilton. Those two will be fighting in front. Thankfully for Checo, he hasn't been hugely affected by that incident. He has been massively affected, but at least he's still going, and he's now at the back of the field. He'll be looking to try and make some progress here, as we are certainly looking a little bit shaky on lap number 1 here at Zandvoort. Don't do loads of racing around here, so it's certainly looking a bit messy. Leclerc getting away from Norris as we steam away here. On to lap number 2 out of 18 on the mediums. Certainly the better race tyre than the hards as Bottas starts to drop away. Ricciardo behind him, ahead of Carlos Sainz here, as we have a little bit of a look on the back of Lando Norris. We might have to wait for a move bit later in the lap. 2 DRS zones around here at Zandvoort. One better overtaking opportunity than the other. Still though, quite difficult to overtake round here as we are struggling a little bit through that section, probably taking a bit too much of curbs that you don't want to take, and you can see that we might start to get into a bit of a rut where we're sort of stuck dropping back to the likes of Bottas at this point in the lap. DRS will be enabled next lap. It will be able to be used on lap number 3 on this straight. So for the moment, it's just good old slipstream and any ERS if you want to use that. And we've got quite a lot at the moment around here at Zandvoort. A lot of slow, medium speed corners, allowing us to charge up our battery, the Dutch GP. Now, the lovely banked corner. We're closing in on Lando Norris, forced a bit of a lift there. That could have got messy. Cost us a bit of top speed. Past Lando Norris. DRS enabled. And that is a purple sector 3 to add to it. A really good start to the race. The podium sat in front. That is, of course, Charles Leclerc, who is in the Ferrari as we flirt with a auto spin curb there. But Charles Leclerc P3 in the Ferrari. We've got some catching up to do to him, and that is, of course, the target. Lap number 4 here. We initially dropped away a bit from Charles. This is probably my weakest section of the track through here. We're also being a little bit more careful through this section. Quite easy to lose the car, make big mistakes, but we are actually catching up to Leclerc a little bit at the moment, starting to drop away from Lando Norris, who's under pressure a bit from Valtteri in the Mercedes as we go very deep there into that corner. No DRS for ourselves or Charles, so it's just all about catching. Sector 3 has been our stronghold so far. We have been quickest on lap number 2, I think, in that. Quickest last time round as the two championship rivals, Verstappen and Hamilton, are gliding off into the distance. Will we get some DRS here as we float with the wall a bit on the exit? No, we won't. We weren't close enough at the DRS activation zone. Once again, a good, solid sector 3. Norris now quite a chunk behind. That's going to help us. It's ourselves versus Charles, and it could be a long cat and mouse battle here. We just can't afford to hold each other up. It could be a long one. It could be a bit of a slog to try and get this battle done with ourselves and the Monegasque. But P3 for Charles Leclerc, and we're catching up to him. We're going to get DRS at the next available point, but it isn't a long run, so an overtake there will be difficult. And let's not forget, Charles has probably got enough pace to try and get back past us on the main straight. So it's all about being clever. It is a bit of that cat and mouse game here today, because if you do not get that right, you pay the price. For the first time in this one, DRS, and we can also use some ERS, but too far back to be able to make any sort of even a little look at going for a move here. But now sector 3, our strength, should place us nicely on for the main straight here. We're going to have DRS this lap for once, which will be nice down the main straight, as then, of course, the one time we're about to get DRS, we make that mistake. We are charging on them, though. Now, down the main straight, using ERS. There's always plenty to use around here at Zandvoort. And it, as I was saying, it could be a long cat and mouse battle here, as we're going to maybe try it a little bit on the exit. Not going to be able to go for the move. Hamilton has the fastest lap. He sits P2 currently. Verstappen in the lead. We're trying anything to get past Charles Leclerc as the gap to Bottas slowly increases. The field has absolutely strung out like mad, and this race is pretty fun actually. It's going very quickly here, which is always a nice thing to have. It's always good when a race is going quickly. You don't want it to go quickly. At the same time, you want to be able to really enjoy it and savour it, but at the same time, if it's going quickly, it means you're enjoying it. So it's going pretty nicely for us though here. Lap number 6 out of 18. We're just focusing on chasing Charles. A very spread out field. You see they tried to make that sort of like it's a bit more realistic in braking point. Checo Perez is recovering a little bit here. Leclerc still sits P3. We're still chasing him down here. We're looking for that all-important overtake. Didn't get close at the last DRS zone, but we're getting closer now. If we can finish off this lap nice and cleanly, not take too much curb here. You don't do that, and now the ERS and the DRS, the double jobby. Really good exit out of the bank corner. Is Charles going to leave us some space? No, he didn't. And we're going to get the move done. That is the move on the monogas. P3 the target. Now we've got to stay here. The guys in front aren't overly quick, as I think that's Norris and Bottas who are fighting. Leclerc might have another little think about a move, but no, he's way too far back. Bottas past Norris, but we're going to be coming into the pits pretty soon. Lap number 9, I do believe. The leaders, though, the Mercedes and the Red Bull. Verstappen leads Hamilton. They're way off in the distance. I think our target this lap is just to comfortably defend from Charles Leclerc, which could be a bit more difficult than it sounds. Don't forget, Bottas will be charging on those hards, of course, though. Means that he will be a lot stronger at the end of the race on fresher softs, and he will be quite a force to be reckoned with. So we do need to gain a good gap on him. Well, this lap is going to be the pit lap. The gap to Leclerc pretty much just stabilising, fluctuating a bit from nearly 2 seconds to about 0.9. You'll see it really does get closer to us through this section, but we're looking all right as long as we don't make too many little mistakes like that. The gap to Norris pretty much at 5.8, 5.96. I'm really just fluctuating all over the place there, but nothing too mad as it stands in terms of the gap to him. We are, of course, boxing this lap. Leclerc sat behind us. Hopefully, he doesn't manage to get a much better pit stop than ourselves here. That certainly wouldn't be helpful, of course. Bahrain last time out, certainly didn't get the best pit stop service, but the leaders are in here. Gotta love this pit stop as we are into the pits. Both the two leaders have got fresh sets of tyres, and you can see AlphaTauri and Ferrari side by side. We just need a decent pit stop here. We get one, and we're going to be leading Charles Leclerc by a comfortable amount. Norris has, I do believe, pitted. He'll be behind us. Bottas on the softs too. He's coming on the exact same lap, despite opting for the hards. A bit weird from him, but we've actually gained a teeny bit of time during the pit stops here. We're leading by quite a chunk to Leclerc, and the gap from him to Bottas is pretty small. Checo Perez in clean air, looking really fantastic at the moment. He's been recovering, certainly won't get as good of a result as he could have had, thanks to, I think it was Valtteri Bottas. But of course, he's still going pretty nicely in this one. Bottas will be the problem here. He's catching Leclerc. He's got the pace in that Mercedes. Now he's on probably the correct set of tyres, and you can see he's catching and catching. We could have a bit of a race on our hands here. We can't afford to let Bottas past, and when there's 9 laps on the softs and we've got a gap of 1.7, which is now coming down, it's going to be difficult. We're losing in probably a little bit in the first sector, quite a large amount in the middle sector, gaining a lot in the final sector. We're going pretty nicely though, taking a wide line there. Teammate is in the pits. Yeah, Aiden is in. We once again quickest in the final sector. Bottas, however, 1 minute 15.2, goes quickest. He is flying here, really is. We've got a lot of work to do if we want to stay ahead of him. Well, our best lap 1 minute 16.6. It's going to be quite a tough end to the GP. Thankfully the gap's increasing a bit. Look, he will have to overtake Leclerc, which should help us quite a chunk. That will take a bit of time. Leclerc's not going to be easy. We certainly found that he won't just throw away a position, but as we go purple in sector 1, it's all about not being slow through sector 2 for us here, and we generally aren't the quickest, just don't really manage to string it together. As I'm sure you guys can see, the gap to Leclerc really come down there. We've got to push at the moment. We really do.
Front is 9.8 seconds.
9.8 seconds to Hamilton. Verstappen leads this one. The field extremely strung out by this stage in the GP. We are going to round the final corner here. Got that ERS turned on, and we might actually go quite quick here. We do go quickest as Casper Akkerman at his home GP. Don't mind adding a fastest lap to what will hopefully be a good result, but on the softs we've got to push away from Valtteri. Well, a quick little update. Lap number 13 here. We haven't been looking extremely quick at the moment. We are still pushing a little bit. This lap very slow in the first sector. We did make a little bit of a mistake, to be honest with you. Not really helping us, but Bottas has reached Leclerc Leclerc won't let him through. Fantastic work defending there from Leclerc. As I say that, he'll probably get the overtake at the end of this lap. But lap number 13, we're driving all right. We've got to keep this up, keep the performance up. The tyre wear not looking too threatening here for the last sort of 5 laps. So it should be a pretty comfortable last 6-7 mins for us here. As long as we keep the consistency, we should still be comfortably ahead of Valtteri at the flag. You can just see a few curves around here. Easy to accidentally take, easy to cost you. But Leclerc looking pretty comfortable in that fight. We're not going too badly, very slow this lap. Very messy one. We've got to try and stop that from happening. We can't afford too many messy laps here. But we are pushing and we're putting in something decent. Well, lap 15 on to 16 to mark. 3 laps to go here at the Dutch GP. Going alright at the moment, I have to say. Comfortable in P3. Still a very nice gap to Leclerc and Bottas. I think this lap, with the softs starting to go a little bit, we're going to try and put a decent push lap in, of course. You want to do that. You want to get something decent in here. You want to get a decent lap time. Sort of mark the end of this one. Verstappen still leading at his home race despite a charging Hamilton. Just doesn't have the pace. He's getting pulled along in the DRS. Frankly though, doesn't have the pace. We're not going to go quickest here generally because our sector 2 isn't fantastic at Zandvoort. Sector 1 and sector 3 certainly aren't too bad. However,
there's 5 laps of fuel remaining.
5 laps of fuel remaining. Yes, that's right, Jeff. The field looking extremely spread out at the moment. I think that you've got to say that Checo Perez has done a fantastic job with his recovery here today. He really has. He is now past our teammate. Not too bad, considering he's had to clear a lot of slower cars back there that are now miles away, of course. He isn't a much quicker car, but still very, very, very solid at the moment. Not too bad in Sector 3 this lap. And there you go. We go quickest. I thought I'd put in a push lap. Went quicker on that lap. 2/10 odd quicker than our personal best. Now with 2 laps to go, we've just got to carefully bring it home here. No need to really take any risks. I'm sure we could go maybe a 10th quicker, but that's unnecessary. We're comfortably ahead of Leclerc and Bottas now. We've got that gap. Even if Bottas could get through in that Mercedes, still wouldn't have enough time to really get anywhere near being able to challenge us here. And we're looking pretty comfortable in Zandvoort. Well, the final of 18 laps here. Sit down for another 1 minute, about 15 seconds extra onto that as we go into the first corner. A little bit messy there, a little bit locking up into it. Didn't get the exact line we would have wanted through there. We've got to really push though this lap, because why not? It's looking a bit messy. It's not going to be a very fast lap. As you can see, we went very high up there onto the banking. We're just bringing it home here. We've got the fastest lap. The really, really tasty lap there we had on lap 16, I do believe it was. We're going to continue to push a little bit though. Just finish off with a half decent lap. That'd be nice. Of course, nice to be here at Zandvoort. Quite a difficult track. It's got aggressive curbs and you're always centimetres away from the gravel, from the grass. So easy for that to happen. Just dip a tyre in there. You pay a very, very big price. We're not too much slower this lap actually, and with a little bit of ERS draining to finish, we might not be too slow. Verstappen wins at his home race. It's going to be 2 Dutch drivers on the podium. We're going to come home to finish P2 here at Zandvoort.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
What a race for Casper Akkerman, proving the naysayers wrong with an emphatic performance. He'll be delighted by that podium finish.
Well, we all know he can do it. It's just been a while since he has. Great race from Akkerman and some much needed points for AlphaTauri.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
podium finish today, Casper, here in front of your home crowd. How does it feel?
Yeah, even after a career as long as mine, I still want to continue to prove myself and remain competitive out there. A podium finish is an accomplishment for any driver, but it's all the sweeter when you can do it at home, so I'm very pleased.
And the fastest lap too today. Is that something you expected?
It's realistically not something you think you're going to get too often, so no, I can't say we expected it. But it's certainly a welcome surprise. Every point counts, so come the end of the season, we might be more grateful for it than we realize.
How is everything in Alpha Tauri? Are spirits high? Is the team happy?
Yes, of course. We've had a bit of a bumpy start, but we're looking to rectify that, and thankfully we got a lot of races left, so we're looking forward to the season ahead. But the only thing you can ever really focus on is the next race, so that's what I'll be looking to do.
Thank you for your time.
Hey man, great race today.
Thanks.
Nice one, Casper. Can't argue with that performance. Shame your teammate couldn't bring himself to congratulate you.
Well, he's just a kid.
Well, kid who's getting signed by Red Bull.
So they say.
Never gonna happen.
Oh?
You keep a secret?
Yeah, sure.
I've been approached.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
Keep it under your hat, but talks are going well. So you're gonna have to get on with Jackson for a little while longer.
Yeah, well, we get on fine.
That's not what I heard.
Yeah?
I was chatting with one of your mechanics. He had some very interesting things to say about Jackson. You know what his problem is, don't you?
Go on.
Thinks you're getting too old. Says you're not fast enough anymore.
Too old?
Hey, mate, his words, not mine. You want my advice? Prove him wrong. See, he should respect you like I do. Great race out there today, buddy. Yeah? Ciao.
Well, what a lovely Dutch GP at Zandvoort there. We got a phone call coming in.
Hey,
Hey, Lily's dancing in the garage. It's hilarious. Can you come?
just catching up on a few things.
Sure. Hey, I booked us a restaurant for tonight.
What about Lily?
Your mother's happy to take care of her.
Great, then I can't wait.
Reason to celebrate, right?
Yeah. Thanks, Zoe. See you later.
Bye.
Looks like Casper has got a nice little restaurant booked there. And now another phone call.
Yeah?
Casper, I missed you just now.
What do you want?
I just wanted to say congratulations for today. That was some race.
I'm busy, Aiden.
Oh, sure.
Bye.
Well, that was a blunt finish to that conversation, but I think a very well-deserved restaurant for Casper, of course. I mean, you know, poor start to season, of course. He had the disaster at Melbourne, still took some points. He had the disaster at Bahrain a bit with the pit stops that cost him, but a podium today in this breaking point chapter, really great to see. Well, fastest lap for Akkerman and an extra point for Alpha Tauri. That'll keep him happy. Interesting comments from Akkerman. Bumpy start. We might read this article more. That is F1 Claire, right. Akkerman, my man. Akkerman says he still wants to prove himself. You've got nothing to prove as Cass, one of the best there ever was. We treated to a belter today. We have a Zandvoort again next weekend. Right where those idiots are calling for Akkerman to retire. Yeah, but now, how often does he turn into a performance like that? Sorry, bringing home the podiums. Casper added in him. Forgotten about you. Good show. Still getting it done. then F1 has never been better. Never too old to go for gold, and Akkerman was on fire. I mean, that was a pretty special GP for him. A podium in a car that isn't really going to be fighting for podiums often, at a track which he would really wanted a good result doing. I think that's motivation of the home GP. So you got asked him about the team atmosphere. Could remain positive, but just be careful not too dismissive about the reality of the situation. His answers can sometimes come across as insincere. He did a good job, and a great race, by the way. And that was a pretty good race there, of course. Plenty of overtaking to do. I really enjoyed those ones in the Breaking Point series, where you're fighting up from a bit further back to be able to go forward and get something decent at the end of that one. Really nice. We had that, of course, back at France and Italy in the sort of first season of this, of course, being the 2020 season, this being 2021. But really another nice, really good race as Casper Akkerman at his home GP in Zandvoort. Great to get a podium for him. A really fun one to do. Plenty of overtaking. His helmet and coffee still in his nice room over here. But really nice to have a mixture of tracks. And that's one of the things. Only one track's been repeated twice so far, I have to say. So that's one thing you want to see. You want to see a variety of tracks. That's what we're getting. Really nice to have that. But of course, that is pretty much it for today's video here at Zandvoort with Akkerman on the podium P3. If you guys have enjoyed watching it, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But I'll catch you guys sometime soon, of course, in this series. We'll move on to the next chapter, which I think is 8 or 9. Something like that. I don't know if we're on 8 or 9 at all, but anyway, the next chapter, and that will, of course, be interesting to see if we remain as Casper for a few more races, or do we go back to Aiden? That will be interesting. But thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you guys sometime soon.